To be clear, much of the GOP leadership is not having any of this and are calling this what it is: a man arrested for and accused of illegally leaking classified information from the U.S. government. Information we know is incredibly damaging to America and its allies, specifically about a foreign war perpetrated by one of our country's enemies.
What they're suggesting will destroy America's ability to defend itself. That it's okay to release classified information based on your political views, that the ends justify the means. It is not okay. If you're a member of the military intelligence community and you disagree with American policy and you think you're going to be okay when it comes to leaking classified information, you're going to go to jail.
Now, again, there's nothing to even suggest that that was his motivation. But more importantly, it seems these days the far right will do anything to create narratives to defend anyone who may share their political perspective. The bad guys aren't bad guys. They're just somehow victims of a deep state. It's the same thing that people like Carlson and Taylor Greene have done with the January 6th rioters, not the trespassers, the rioters who actively attacked the Capitol and the police that day. What happened to law and order, supporting law enforcement, bringing down the bad guys? And look, it's not apples to apples. Some on the far left have tried similar diversionary tactics, like Rolling Stone magazine, which has become a left-wing political magazine, publishing an article we later learned was heavily edited to paint a now disgraced national security reporter as a victim of an unwarranted FBI raid, whose role as a journalist supposedly put him in the crosshairs. It turns out the FBI was investigating him for sharing horrific child porn. We covered that story. But Rolling Stone is an increasingly irrelevant media entity. Tucker Carlson and Fox and the right-wing legislators are all very influential, which makes their efforts to turn criminals into heroes that much more dangerous. It's an attack on law enforcement and the media for the sin of reporting on and acting on actual facts. It's hard to believe we can't all agree that if Teixeira did what he's accused of doing, it's bad. It's really bad for the United States. Joining me now is Denver Riggleman, former Republican congressman and former military intelligence officer, where he held high-level clearances. He's now a registered independent. Thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. What is going on here? What do you make of this?
Well, first of all, I had to take whistleblower training. I was prior enlisted, Dan, right? So I had to be a journeyman. I worked on ComNav and radars, and I became an Air Force intelligence officer. And there we had to take whistleblower training. And I promise you, I never saw in the whistleblower training where it said that we automatically report to Thug Shaker Central, if we have anything that we need to report to the government. And, what I make of it is really, it's not just the fact that there's so much ignorance. You talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the fact is a low-level National Guardsman actually could be an enemy of the state, depending on the materials that they actually processed, what they took out of a SCIF, a Sensitive Compartment and Information Facility, what they put onto Discord chat and how that propagated across the internet. But when you see Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dan, I think you're looking at somebody who's actually following Trump's message, right? And anything she can do to discredit any type of support to Ukraine based on Zelensky. But also the simple fact is that she swims in ignorance, and she's been able to weaponize that in a way where she's an incredible fundraiser for the GOP, but she can also radicalize, and she can also get people very excited in the base about things that are simply not true. And really, I just can't believe she's on the Homeland Security Committee, Dan. It's just still shocking to me.
Again, it seems to me there's a huge difference between a debate on what we should do in Ukraine, right? Legitimate discussion, legitimate debate to have. How much money should we be giving? Accountability. All those are very fair questions. That's very different from saying, oh, this guy is now a hero because he's released classified information, the truth, so to speak, but it's clear he wasn't even doing it as a political statement. He was doing it as this sort of bravado. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.